welcome back to Pursuit. Is this how you expected to find us? All on a couch in matching jammies?
Yay! That you can't see because half of us are covered by blankets.
We'll do a reveal towards then.
I feel like Mama's definitely gonna get mad about that one. Of all the things you could have done, he's gonna get mad about that one.
Alright. Let's start this over.
Let's try again.
Alright, Remy, just stand up because when I talk about, my mic is loose.
I'm sorry. Dun, dun, dun.
I fixed it, don't worry. Alright. Welcome back to another episode of Pursuit.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I didn't know you said after. We're gonna redo that. We're gonna do it again. Alright, one more time. Welcome back to another episode of Pursuit. Things look a little bit different. We're in matching jammies, tops and bottoms, except for Kevin. He's only got the bottoms on, loser. But welcome to Christmas.
I'm so glad that we do a video one because the way you said that, if this was audio only, it really is a sound. So glad there's no audio only option. For anyone that happens to just playing this in the background, I do have a shirt on.
Absolutely, he would not have a shirt on. That's not something that would have even crossed a mind. But I feel like that echoed in here.
It did. Editing this is going to be fun.
But for our opener today, we are going to be trying spicy ramens. And most of us can take spice, but some of us cannot. So this is gonna be a fun journey.
And also, not all of us are good with using chopsticks.
Oh,
that's
right.
a treat for you guys too.
Yeah. Comment down below who you think is gonna be.
I can do it.
All right, are we ready? Does everyone have a respective plate? All right, grab your plates, everyone.
I thought we also decided we're not gonna have like water.
What do you
or
mean? We have our
anything.
bevs right there.
Done.
With the
Do you not
bev,
see
with the
the-
bev. Bacon, egg, or cheese. Sorry, I watched the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, I keep saying I'm gonna watch it. and
It's
I
so
never do.
good.
Lord
So good.
Jesus, thank you.
Oh, you should.
Are we not introducing what we're doing?
I'm good.
We started?
Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay,
So how is it?
It's great. I love it.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
But I like spicy too.
Cold.
They're cold. They've been sitting there
Cold
for
but
like
hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Asha, how are we doing this? No.
She can't do spice.
Oh. Yeah, that is hot.
Eh.
It's hot on the first bite.
It did. It does taste good though.
Thanks, guys. I made that myself.
She did.
Yep.
Asha really put her foot in it.
I really wish I had some coffee left.
I have a whole thing of oat milk.
Can I have some for later?
Alright, so on a scale, I don't want to do 1 to 5. I feel like that's not enough. I feel like 10.
1 to 7.
Yeah, there we go. Scale from 1 to 7.
What are we rating though? The overall, how do we like it?
Let's
or
go-
like spicy?
Let's go overall first. Or maybe let's do spice first, because I feel like that will determine the overall thing. So, spice level, Farah.
1 to 7. How do you rate it?
7 being
6.
the, okay.
Could you take hotter than this?
But it is a 6.
Okay. I would say 4. Man, I'm gonna say 7.
I thought Remy was gonna say 8.
That was something.
She's red.
I'm gonna say like a 2.
A 2? I would say like a 4 or 5.
Really?
Yeah. I mean.
Well, you know what? You're also eating more of it. Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Like I could take something hotter, but
Yeah.
not as like a meal. Like I wouldn't choose to do that, but I could if I had to. You know.
I'm gonna say 6.
Jeez. Was the extra little like? Was that necessary?
What? I said 6.
Ask for her perspective.
You heard what I'm talking about, right?
Wait, she said she's dying?
No, she was like 6.
Oh, the breath.
Well, because it's like, I feel it. It's hot.
I think it would be worse if it was hot.
Jeez. I lagged. I was like, oh, here we go.
I feel like the heat would be.
It would make it worse.
It would be hotter, like spice level, if it was actually hot, like fresh off the stove.
Oh, for sure.
But because it's cold, it's not as spicy.
That's terrifying to me because, oh my gosh.
Alright, we'll do a redo when it's hot.
Do you know what? I reheated it like on the
Oh, did
stove
you?
when I was like plating it, but it's been sitting here because we were setting up stuff. So I should have done that later.
I feel like if you want the fillers, just eat this. Because
Just
the
rub
way
it
my
in.
lips feel right now, you know, it's cheaper.
Much.
But you pay for it a lot more.
Yeah.
Just buy a few of those packets.
All right. So overall, then, 1 to 7 overall. Asha.
Your experience.
I did not enjoy that.
Okay.
Oh.
I did not enjoy that.
1 to 7.
Oh. I'm gonna say 6 because I was having a great time with you guys.
Aww.
But I'm the mean one.
This is my friend.
I'm about to hug her.
I take it back. Overall experience, I would say like a 6. Yeah, I'm clearly still eating it. And everyone else's reactions are funny.
I would say a 4, so just because I have to kind of lead this episode, so I have something spicy and then do that was a bad idea. Should have done this on one of y'all's episodes. That's when we took a bite out of it.
I don't know. I'm gonna say like.
Farrah's
so easy. It's okay, Farrah. Okay, I thought you were gonna.
I wasn't trying to say anything.
Okay.
She's just trying to eat.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Experience-wise, I'm gonna say 1. That was intense. And I'm gonna say 1 just because, like Asha said, we're doing it together as a family, and that's sweet. But that really almost killed me. That took me out.
But you're still here.
Yes, I
Well,
am
I'm
still
getting
here.
it. I don't
You know he will.
Farrah doesn't need a blanket anymore.
Finally.
They can see your shirt now.
Oh my god.
A 5. Neither here nor there.
I feel like that's on the higher end.
Yeah, 5 out of 7.
So 4 out of 7 then technically, or 3.5 out of
No,
7.
right now it's a 2.
Yeah.
A 2.
Oh, why did I give us such a high rating?
Thought you really liked us.
I was
Where
trying
did you
to
go?
figure out the scale, like. what
So
are
you
we
went
rating
6 out of 10 then.
Yes, I did. I did
Wow.
not 10 out of 10. It was on a 7 out of 7, I'm
I
sorry.
said 6 out of 7.
Can we
Oh,
talk
well,
about smell for a sec?
Smell?
Yeah.
What?
What does it smell like?
I did not like the smell of it at all. But
She can smell it now because it cleared her sinuses.
no, before that, I was just like, this is not gonna be it. I mean, it's
So not only did it like make her warmer so she doesn't need the blanket, it cleared up your sinuses. So like this is for you.
Yeah.
Now what's your rating?
Out of 7. 6 out of 7?
it's
Nice.
Okay.
It wasn't bad.
Alrighty then.
Group rating overall. Did we keep score?
No, we probably should have and got like a median score.
Alright, guys. I'm just gonna move on from this because I don't know how to transition. Actually, you know what? Asha brought up a good point that it's a 6 out of 7 because she was here with all of us, and that's what we're going to talk about today. God with us. Don't let me transition out of this. Let me transition out of this. All
She
right.
can have a voice.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So God with us. We're talking about different names for God for this month. Yeah, for our Christmas episodes. So the first name we're going to talk about is Emmanuel, which means.
God with us.
All right. I was hoping you guys got it because I said it first. Did it the wrong way.
If only you cut on like that. You want me to be mean? I'm gonna be mean. You want to bring out the hater?
Yikes.
Bring out the hater.
Wow. That was uncalled for.
So are you. I joke.
How do you know disrespectful when it's all that?
All right. That was okay. It's uncomfortable now.
It's the wrong.
It's getting hot in here. Is what it's
Okay. So I'm gonna continue and act like that didn't just happen. The Book of Isaiah, right? I think is one of the more popular books when it comes to talking about Jesus because of all the prophecies that he makes. In the Book of Isaiah, we use multiple names to describe Jesus. God calls him Emmanuel, Wonderful Counselor, Prince of Peace, and Everlasting Father. And I think those are kind of like, especially in church when we get to like Christmas season, those are like, that scripture is like the really big, I guess, quoted one. But let's focus in on Emmanuel God with us. What does that mean for you? Right? I think we're all familiar with the name of God being given that name, and there's the songs. What does that mean for you? Anyone? Someone. Oh, whiplash.
I mean, so it's kind of like one of those reminder things, right? So a lot of times when you go through things, you have to remember, like, oh, God is with us. He will see us through, like, all of those things. So it's more of like a reminder to self.
I think it's a comfort. Definitely, like, it serves as a reminder, but it also serves as a comfort of, like, you know what, God is with me. If you switch it and say me, because a lot of times, we say us because we want to make sure we're including all of us. But when you can remind yourself, you know, well, God is with us, but God is with me, I think it serves as a really like great and sweet reminder.
For me, God with us, usually I think of God with us, he'll never forsake me. So God is with me, but he'll not forsake me. When I hear that, it is a good reminder and a comfort knowing that he's with me wherever I go. Even when I don't feel him, he's with me and he's not going to leave me. That's big.
Anyone else want to? No? Okay. Asha, you're good with those answers?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. So, I think both of you kind of started to touch on this idea of, you know, how do you start to recognize God essentially living up to that name in your life, right? So, are there any, like, I guess moments in your life when you've been going through something, or maybe just like whatever was happening in life, and you're like, oh wow, this is what it means when we talk about Emmanuel, God with us?
I think definitely yes. I know, like, when I was younger, I had to leave school to take care of my mom and like get a job and stuff, and that took a little bit of time to even find a job. But throughout that time, like, our rent was paid, like, we had food on the table, like, randomly people would like bring groceries for us, and you know, even then I could realize like it wasn't random. It was definitely God providing for us and God being with us.
So the flip side of that, has anyone ever felt like God is not with you? you can't. Yeah, you got.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like as much as we like know that like like we're fortunate to have like our Father in our life, Jesus, like we can always like call out to him or whatever. But we're human. There are gonna be moments where we have like ups and downs, and I mean it can feel lonely sometimes without him. So like I feel like there are many moments where like we've all experienced some type of like that we're alone and we have no one with us.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. So a lot of times, like when you are in those lows, right, it can be hard to feel or find that comfort until you're like actually searching for it, looking for it, like seeking God. Because a lot of times you can get caught up in like the humanity of life, where it's like I feel alone because there is physically like I can't feel anything, right? Did you hear the dog? That was.
It's the Christmas dog.
He feels alone. Feels alone.
Okay, so when obviously, so we're going through situations like, and we understand that God has described himself as Emmanuel God with us, right? We see this, I think the greatest example of this in the Bible is the story of Christmas, right? Of Jesus actually coming down to be here with us, right? I'm sure we can list other examples from the Old Testament, New Testament of God being with people, but thank you for the sound effects.
You're welcome.
But I think the birth of Christ is probably the greatest example. So with that, right, what are things that we do to kind of recognize that God is with us?
I think looking for him in the places you wouldn't expect him, right? Or like trying to remember like the smaller joys that you've experienced, that it's like, oh, do you know what? I didn't realize it, but that was really God's moving in my life, right? So in this situation, how can I apply that same mentality, right? Like I may not feel him here in this very moment, but over the course of today, where are some instances where that was really God looking out for me, right? So like I was driving to work the other day, and a car had just like swerved into my lane, because like I guess a car had like swerved into my lane, and I hit the brake, but like thankfully there was nothing behind me, like immediately enough to where. And then also today,
Yeah,
Me
me
too.
too.
today when we were driving from church, right, we were stopping at like a light, and the car behind us stopped, but the car behind that one like fully went into them, and so
Hit her car. Yeah.
the car that got hit my car, but like thankfully there's no damage. Like our car, we felt the little bump, but like when I went out to take a look at it, it's like it just needs to wipe down. And it's
We
like
almost
that
got
could
hit
have.
as well too.
Yeah.
Did you?
We
Yeah.
almost got hit.
And you guys left like an hour after us. That's wild. I don't know what
He was
happening.
like this close to me.
But like the
Because I was trying to cut
first
off.
car that made
That was-
impact, like his whole hood got like
Oh,
messed up.
Mm.
Yeah. But like it's those little things where like that could have gone really wrong. Like that could have been really bad.
I agree. And also just like looking I think you kind of said it, where like you kind of look back and think, okay, well God was there before.
Mm.
Like I'm sure he's here now. I'm just not seeing it now. And it's just kind of that reminder of like, you know what, like I will see it in the future. So I just need to like take a breath and like remember that he is here.
Yeah, because like they say, hindsight is 20/20, right?
Yes.
So I may not see it now, but looking back, I'm gonna have a different perspective and a different way to look at things.
so I want to read the scripture where the Emmanuel name is given. Right, it's Isaiah 7, verses 10 to 14. I'm going to read NLT. It says, later, the Lord sent his message to King Ahaz. Ask the Lord your God for a sign of confirmation, Ahaz. Make it as difficult as you want, as high as heaven or as deep as the place of the dead. But the king refused. No, he said, I will not test the Lord like that. Then Isaiah said, listen, Listen well, you royal family of David. Isn't it enough to exhaust human patience? Must you exhaust the patience of my God as well? Yeah. All right then. The Lord himself will give you a sign. Look, the virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son, and will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Okay. So Ahaz is the king of, I believe, Israel at the time, right? Or at least God's people. Maybe I can't remember where in the timeline this is, but he's the leader, right? And they're about to go into battle against two armies, right? And God is making this promise to King Ahaz that neither army will overcome God's people, right? And it's a seemingly impossible situation, right? When you're in those situations, what do you do when you're in those seemingly impossible situations? Because realistically, even the Christmas story, right, of Mary giving birth is essentially a somewhat impossible situation, right, of a virgin giving birth. So when we're in those situations, what exactly do you do?
Cry. But then also, after. I think in situations like that, your faith is being tested. So I have to know that God just has my back and that his grace is sufficient for me in whatever situation I'm in. And even though it sounds crazy, like when Mary was pregnant, right? She's like, ooh, how did I get here? I mean, she listened to what the angel said and she accepted it and she just knew that it would work out. So I think just trusting in God in those moments gets me through that.
I think for me, it's also having people in your corner. Because when I was pregnant with Connor and I got really sick and I got hospitalized, I kind of knew that I couldn't. Like, part of me was like, no, like, don't tell anyone. Like, I'm sure you'll be out of here this weekend. Like, but something was telling me, like, no, like, you need to pray and you need people to help you pray. And that was when, I don't remember if you called me or I called you. But
there was something I think we were supposed to work on for church, and I texted you or you texted me.
Yeah.
I think I probably texted you because I hadn't heard from you in a while.
Yeah.
And then you were telling me what was
and
going
then
on.
I told you what was going on, and then I spoke to Sister Sandra and told her what was going on. And, I remember, like, you girls coming to visit me in the hospital, and, like, I could have gone through that whole, like, month by myself, but I didn't. And I think that was a really big thing for me, because usually I wouldn't say anything, and it was another way that God showed me that he was with me throughout that.
So one of the things that we see with Isaiah 7, right, and it kind of goes along to what you were talking about there for a second, of that feeling of, do I include other people in what's going on? Do I share what's happening, right? For King Ahaz, it was more of a sense of when Isaiah approaches him and tells him, hey, the Lord's going to give you a confirmation I'm going to do this. He goes, no, I don't want to test God, right? And I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where it almost feels like what you're asking God is, like, improper, right? Again, what should we do in those situations where you're praying for something or something's happening and you're like, can I even go to God with this?
I don't know if this is answering the question or not, but, like, when you're younger and you're like, I follow religion because my parents have made me, but, like, how do I know that God is real, right? Have you ever had those instances where you're like, all right, God, if you're real, you're going to do this, so I know? It's like, I feel like I shouldn't be doing that, but, like, he proves himself time and time again.
I mean, that's kind of what's happening to King Ahaz, right? It's just that he felt like he was being tricked. Yeah. But I think for a lot of us, especially I think when you've grown up in church too, right? And that's kind of all you've known. Yeah. Right? It's really easy to go, all right, God, like, if you're real, I feel like that's the question I always start to. If you're real,
like,
then,
flicker this light, or, like,
I need you to do something, right? And I think even in Judges, I think Gideon has a similar reaction to God calling him to God. Well, if if this is really God, well, like, do this.
Mhm.
Okay, now do this. Like, you know, he keeps kind of doing that.
Like, that could have been a fluke. I need you to do something else.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly. But now, wow, the
heard
headphones are
that.
loud.
That's why I couldn't hear you.
And no one else
I
can
love
hear
how
you.
Farah's one-liners never get picked up.
Farrah, hold this mic.
So,
We got it.
with that, right, and we're talking about God with us, right? What does God do that maybe sometimes reminds us that He's with us?
I guess, are you talking about when you're in the situation or?
I think in general, right? And especially for those that may have never experienced God, or when you're in those times of God, are you real? Right? Like how does He respond that He lets us know, hey, no, I am with you.
I think it depends on the situation.
Mm.
Because, for example, like the example I gave earlier, when I felt I wasn't alone, even though it was a very lonely place to be, like I was helped not to feel alone. In other situations, it was just simply God providing. I remember when I was pregnant with Christian, Roman wasn't working, and still, like, God provided. Our rent was paid, our food was, we had food in the fridge, thank God, and it's in little things like that. And even with, like, proving who should and shouldn't be in your life, I feel like that's another thing that proves, like, when you start seeing, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be friends with this person. And people, although it hurts, you start to see, like, God's hand moving. And it might hurt in the moment, but then you do look back and you see that, no, like, God was protecting me from something. I may not know what it is, and thankfully you don't know what it is, but, God was protecting me from something. He was there.
Have you seen that, like, meme or, like, that trend or whatever where it's like, there's no quicker prayer that God enacts than, like, God, if this person shouldn't be in my life,
Yes.
take him out.
For real.
So,
I need to start praying that.
Can you elaborate? Really quick. You can't say that.
Say something like that. I know, we know exactly who you're talking about.
We'll pray that prayer for Farah at the end of the episode.
No, but do you ever, like, now that, like, we said this, right, do you ever think that, like, sometimes God will just, like, in your case, like, you low-key know that she said be God, and he's just looking at you like, girl,
Like,
come on,
this is-
you don't need to pray that prayer. I'm gonna just leave her in there.
He's
Just
like rolling
look at
his
her.
eyes, like,
This is your time to, like, step up.
He's like, I'm with you, but, like, you need to help yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like,
I've
be
given you
real.
the tools. I've given you the tools. I need you to use them.
I'm not a handyman, okay? So
That's what you're telling God?
Yeah.
I was telling Ariel,
It could have been a paintbrush, Farah. Artistic tools. You like
You
to
can
paint?
figure out your life. Like, be
Black that out.
No, she said I'm not.
Prime your canvas and remove
No,
that.
because I thought she was talking to God. I was like,
like, this is how you talk to the Lord? No wonder that girl's still in your life.
nah.
She's going through a season of, like, learning and, growing.
Me?
You.
oh.
And this season, Farah is like, Lord, are you there?
Farah is learning that she's supposed to be learning right now.
This
Oh,
season,
goodness.
Farah's like, God, are you there? Are you?
It's me, Margaret.
How do you feel about this?
Oh, okay.
Sounds like she was crying behind that.
she ran out of, like, one-liners.
I'm okay.
Anyway.
You know the little meme of the boy when he's crying? That was Farah just
His
now.
face.
No. Oh.
So Matthew 1 says, verse 22, all of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message to his prophet. NLT still. Look, the virgin will conceive a child she will give birth to a son. They will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us, right? And this is the angel appearing to Joseph to confirm that Mary wasn't just
Crazy.
in them streets.
Wow.
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
That is the truth.
Am I
I mean,
wrong?
that is.
Am I wrong?
I was gonna say baking in the oven. He says in
No.
the streets. Like,
I mean,
okay.
Am I wrong?
no.
I also don't want to agree and say that you're right.
That's fine. I'll take that. So God is with us, guys.
Amen.
Yeah.
All the time.
There's some stuff. Yeah, I don't know where we are now.
Matthew 1.
I'm trying to think of what I'm editing out to make it make sense. Right, okay, so Matthew 1, right, that passage takes place where Joseph is in Joseph's dream. And again, God is, or the angel is kind of quoting what Isaiah has said, right, and kind of creating this, fulfilling this prophecy and things like that. But God, again, uses this promise of Emmanuel God with us, Joseph also, right? And again, Joseph, again, is confronted with what is seemingly an impossible situation, right?
She's just staring at the camera laughing.
No, because I thought you were going to say,
In the streets.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to. Okay. Thank you for that, Asha. So God uses this
I can't even look at her.
promise multiple times, right? And I think it's important for us as believers to, especially in this season, right, to remember this promise, right? Because obviously it's not just a name of God that we use, but it's a promise, right? That God is with us, or as you were saying, God is with me, right? We can personalize it. I think that it's important for us that as we personalize it, as we hold God to His promise, it's important for us to remember that no matter how impossible the situation is, no matter how bleak it may seem, God is with us, right? Jokes aside, even with what we were about Farah and the people she needs to cut out of her life, let's put it that way, right?
Names up in 2023.
You're right. It will. It will be.
In Jesus, amen. I'm praying that for you.
We'll circle back in 2024.
That's gonna be the first episode. Are they still
I
in your
can't.
life?
I mean, okay.
Do you not want to let go?
Yes, but I mean,
The word is gonna
very
work.
nice.
Amen.
And she needs.
You can be nice and do it.
how exactly? Okay, we'll talk about this
Well,
later.
that's a side comment. That's a separate.
Patreon episode.
January's episode. How do we cut off the people that we need to cut off?
I would like to leave that. I couldn't even say it out loud because it was so delusional. Here we go.
All right. So I don't know where I am in my notes.
You're talking about how far it needs to cut off her friend.
Thank you,
Yeah.
because I was genuinely confused now. What was it about? Oh, you guys were saying, we were joking around, we were saying, God is with us, and I think sometimes it is easy to overlook the fact that God is with us, right? Because I think sometimes we're also expecting Him to do something big in situations when God is with us doesn't necessarily mean He's going to do something big, right? I think sometimes it literally just means that you have someone there in your corner, right, as you're going through situations. Because I think there are certain situations and seasons in life in which there may not be a miracle. You just have to kind of ride through the storm, right? You're going to end up kind of like the disciples in the boat. You have to get to the other side of the lake or whatever. The storm is going to rage. You have to trust that Jesus being in the boat with you, Emmanuel, God with us, He'll calm it or He'll get you through it to the other side. And I think sometimes we're waiting for a big thing, right? And I think sometimes, we're waiting for God to just, move so that that person doesn't text us anymore or whatever it is, right? And instead maybe he's doing something else and maybe just helping us, building us up so that we can learn how to deal with people like that or whatever the case may be.
Dude, you ever pray that prayer and then the next day you get the ache? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Won't he do it?
Yes, he will.
Yes, he will.
Yes, he will.
Yeah.
You know.
You know he will.
Hey.
Alright.
We're getting it, we're getting it.
All right, that's all I got. Because I feel like every time I say something, I get distracted. So I'm gonna end right here. I feel like we said all we can say about Emmanuel God with us,
Happy Christmas!
even though it's only the first week in December.
Okay, it's Advent season.